Okay, good evening. It is Monday, 8 p.m. Of course, talking about the winter storm now. That is basically on our doorstep. Um, we're talking about snow, certainly in excess of 3, 4 inches, the way it looks now. And in fact, I'm starting to think that the storm may overperform, especially from what some of the outlooks are, or some of the outlets are predicting out there. I know that many outlets have really downgraded the amount of snow that's expected, but I think we're pumping the brakes just a little too fast with this storm system. And I'm going to show you what I mean. All right, here's the infrared satellite loop. This is over the last 5 hours or so. And remember, when we look at an infrared satellite loop, we're looking for these greens and yellows. These are colder cloud tops. And we like to see these greens and yellows develop over time. And I want you to see what's happening here over southern Minnesota now. You can see we're going from these blue colors now to these greens and yellows. It's a subtle difference in the colors that are changing there, but it's a very important difference. That tells me that the cloud tops are cooling now over southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, and that means that the precipitation intensity out of these clouds are likely going to start to increase. Well, they've already increased. The echoes have in size and coverage. And I think they're going to increase in intensity too as we go through the night. So that's one positive if you want significant snow. And by the way, you can also see that there are some colder, brighter cloud tops here over eastern North Dakota, and they are getting snow up there in the Red River Valley. All right, so we're going to be watching these clouds over southern Minnesota closely here over the next 6 to 12 hours to see if they continue to increase in intensity. Now, this is what's called a water vapor satellite loop. And this orange area in our atmosphere here is dry air. And you can clearly see that dry air is pumping up out of the desert Southwest and out of the Texas Panhandle on north into eastern Nebraska and portions of western Iowa. What's important about this is that usually on the nose of a dry punch is where precipitation likes to develop, and you can kind of see that happening here over southwestern Minnesota and south central Minnesota and north central Iowa. So once again, we have a favorable area now very close to home where precipitation is likely to continue to develop and expand. Hence, I think our snow coverage over southern Minnesota is going to expand and intensify over time. And now here's the jet stream. This is the river of air at 25 to 30,000 feet, of course, in our atmosphere. And let's just go to tomorrow morning now. And here we go. This is tomorrow morning. And I want you to look at this jet streak now that's coming up out of Missouri and heading northeast right through Chicago and then into Michigan. And remember, we like to be on the left front quad of a jet streak and on the nose of that jet streak. And that's exactly where northern Iowa, southern and eastern Minnesota, and basically all of Wisconsin is located as we get into tomorrow morning. So this is a favorable area, especially as you get into this portion of the atmosphere. This would be much of Wisconsin and then eastern and southeastern Minnesota. This is the area that really is prime for significant development, or at least an explosive area for snow development. And that's something that we're certainly going to need to watch here as we go through tomorrow. And this jet structure actually stays in place through the noon hour tomorrow. So that's why I think that snow could hang in our area through at least the late morning and early afternoon hours, and that would be accumulating snow. Okay, here is the radar summary now over the upper Midwest, and you can clearly see that snow it's patchy snow. We almost like a snow shower type of an environment, but snow, and some of it fairly intense now, has developed over much of Iowa and southwestern Minnesota, and then that continues to extend northwest along an inverted trough into the eastern Dakotas, especially eastern North Dakota. And then you can see a steadier area of rain and snow now over eastern Iowa. And again, I expect this area of scattered snow showers or scattered areas of snow to fill in and intensify as we go through the evening hours. And if we zoom in a little bit closer into Twin Cities radar, you can clearly see that snow And some of it is at a good clip, at about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch per hour. Snow is steadily moving north-northeast towards the Twin Cities metro. And if we extrapolate this through time, we should expect snow to engulf much of the Twin Cities metro, if not all of the Twin Cities metro, and western Wisconsin for that matter. So Eau Claire, Red Wing, southeastern Minnesota, the Twin Cities metro, everybody should be engulfed in snow by about the midnight hour. So I think that's going to be the timing on this. And then we will get significant snow, the way it appears, between midnight and noon tomorrow. All right, this is hot off the press. This is the 7 p.m. guidance. This is the NamNest computer model guidance future radar. And you can see it is showing that snow, like I had mentioned, engulfs all of southern and central Minnesota and basically the whole state of Wisconsin by about midnight or 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then that snow kind of sits in pinwheels and lingers right over eastern and southeastern Minnesota and all of Wisconsin as we go through the day tomorrow. So even this is at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. The NamNest computer model guidance is still showing snow, and this would be accumulating snow hanging over the Twin Cities metro, certainly over Eau Claire and Red Wing and southeastern Minnesota, Rochester. All these areas that should be experiencing accumulating snow into tomorrow afternoon, and that could add up. In fact, this is the first time I've seen this too, by the way. This is the potential snow from the NamNest computer model guidance. And this isn't much of a surprise. It's kind of what the guidance has been showing over the last couple of runs. It's showing anywhere from about 4 to as much as 6 inches of snow across the Twin Cities metro area. And then snow increases significantly in amounts as you go east into Wisconsin, so that Eau Claire by the middle portions of tomorrow afternoon will be digging out of about 8 to 10 inches of snow. And that would also be the case for the Rochester area, 7 to 9 inches of snow. So Red Wing, Rochester, Eau Claire stand a much better opportunity of receiving 6+ inches of snow when compared to the Twin Cities. But yes, I still expect much of the Twin Cities metro to get anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of snow on the western side of the metro to 6 to 7 inches of snow on the extreme southeastern and eastern side of the Twin Cities metro. And I think that's a pretty good bet. And that, of course, is the snow graphic that was sent to you by Novak Weather. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on is as we get into Thursday of this coming week, because I know everybody's very tired and we would like a break. And I get a funny feeling that we actually are going to receive a break. And I'm now starting to think that Thursday and Friday, for the most part, are going to be dry here in the upper Midwest. You can see that the jet stream on Thursday, the core of the jet streak is located right over Minnesota. And that is not a good place to be if you're looking for heavy snows. So it's more likely that the heavier snows will be down here in Nebraska and Iowa as we get into Thursday and Friday. So I still wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a coating, maybe even up to an inch or two of snow in southern Minnesota and portions of western Wisconsin on Thursday and Friday. But I also believe that the chances of that happening now continue to decrease, and I won't be surprised if the idea of snow basically gets taken out of the forecast, out of the trigger graph forecast as we get into tomorrow and then Wednesday. We'll just have to see. But long story short, it looks like we're going to get a much needed break, not only for later this week, but then even as we go into the weekend. I think much of the weekend is going to be dry until we head into Sunday. Then we're going to have to start looking at the potential for another snow system. But that's a long ways away. Let's get through tonight and certainly tomorrow. It's going to be a nasty rush hour tomorrow morning. Be prepared for that. And actually, I'm expecting tomorrow evening to be a kind of a tough rush hour too. So hang in there. Try to get some rest here yet this evening and be ready for some work here over the next 12 to 24 hours. Bye-bye.